Good morning. Y'all are all quiet today. Is it too early for everybody? So, 9 o'clock, the Self-Insurance Board, December 1st. Call this meeting to order. Anyone like to give the invocation? Mary, thank you.
Bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for the wonderful holidays we've all had. I hope everyone has had that through your love and faith that we have with you, Lord Jesus. And I thank you for allowing us all to come here in this faith passage and providing us the opportunity to come together and make good decisions for our community, our county, and our folks that we're working with. I ask that you watch over us as we depart today and keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Can I get an approval of the agenda? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item is recognition of the public. Seeing none, we'll move on. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 18th? There's no move. Close to second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. So, report of the chairman. I really don't have a report. We met recently. I think we're all up to date on everything that's going on. From the finance department.
The October financials are included in the packet. Anyone have any questions about entry dates?
Is it any different than, much different than it was last month?
So in the financials, I know that our fund is doing well. I know that we've all talked about it in the past, how in the past the fund here in the county was low and the county commission had to step in and really boost it up a lot. So part of the reason that we have an insurance board and stuff is to watch that balance and to make sure that it stays in a functioning range and stuff. So if everybody could just be aware of how that hits the balance sheet and stuff. And any finance questions that you have that you might find later when you're reviewing these numbers, I'm sure finance would be glad to entertain. Report of the consultants. 1-to-1? We just saw you recently.
Sorry I could not be at the last meeting, but I would like to introduce this is Cheryl. Cheryl Counts is our new Chief Clinical Operations Officer. You have not had a pleasure to meet her in person, but she is virtual with us today. And then Lena Patel is our VP, which you guys met at the last meeting. So joining us virtually today. I'm going to bring back here. Sorry. Yes, there we go. So just a follow-up on some of the items, and these ladies can chime in as well. We've reached out to the 10 candidates that voiced interest on the rabies vaccine. We've gotten them scheduled, those that were interested. I also have got a follow-up on the behavioral.
Can I interrupt you? I'm sorry. We don't have 10 people working in our animal control. So I'm kind of confused on what 10 people want the rabies shot.
Sure. They sent me a list of 10 people that have said they were interested.
Who sent you?
Tommy Greer.
He said he did.
Okay, well, that would be
I don't.
well, maybe other officers that are involved.
That's what I was going to say. I can give you guys the list.
Do we need a short policy, or do we want? I'm just throwing it out there. Or do we want to offer everyone in the sheriff's department a $500 rabies shot, or do we want a short list of who qualifies? Or is that something we would need?
I would think that people that are dealing with dogs should do that, whether they, yes, a police officer has an opportunity to come in contact with an attack dog, but I don't see that that's.
Maybe we should, like, before we move forward, perhaps we would like to, invite, Chief Deputy Greer to talk to us.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter to you, the policy, you're just doing a great job
doesn't.
providing. Thank you for that.
But they are, the ones that are interested are already scheduled for their first initial visit with our provider to make sure that
Yes,
there's no,
health concern.
yes.
Yes,
So,
so here,
just put that on pause for a minute.
Can I say something? It's not just dogs and cats. It's possums, raccoons, anything that a sheriff or one of our, there's a lot of people that come in contact with dangerous animals, you know? And so it's not just about the dog and the cat. There are other animals out there that are babies.
Yeah, there's plenty of skunks out there.
Yeah, so,
everybody?
well,
I'm not opposed to it, I'm just saying we should be guardrails as to what's going on here.
And when I was initially brought this, I was told there was only 4 employees
right.
for animal control. So when I got the list of 10, I was like,
Well, there could have been maybe some extras that they didn't think about.
Are you gonna give the administrative staff in the sheriff's office?
The
I mean,
dog,
when we put guardrails on, we have to think about if you just say everybody in the sheriff's office, there's,
I mean, you're not gonna usually call a policeman to come
okay.
get a skunk out of your basement or something like that. That's
So,
critter control. That's,
can we put a pause on it and we will revisit it at our next meeting and come up with some guardrails? Because that does open up a lot more, like
So
who,
when you
if
say-
you wanna say who.
Okay, guardrails, so are you wanting to put like specifics of, and I think that's kind of dangerous to do that, because if you put guardrails up, X, Y, Z people are the ones that can get it, and then you have someone outside the box that ends up getting bit by an animal.
Okay, we have 1,000 employees who want to give them all $500 rabies shots. I mean, that would be no guardrails.
I would say that if you are in a qualified position where you would perhaps be at risk, then yeah, I'd say that, not thousands. I mean, I'm not talking about the secretary of the institution. I mean, no. But I'm talking about people, there are other people that could be at risk. So the sheriff must be able to come up with a identifiable positions that could be at risk.
Then maybe that's what we need is the sheriff to determine for us.
Right. Instead of just a little window. I'm afraid there's gonna be,
Yes, ma'am.
issues.
I thought the sheriff did when he sent 10 over. That was the decision that he made that were the ones at risk.
yeah, that's,
He didn't send 1,000 over, he sent 10.
If this is such a unique situation that you're doing these shots, and you need this much of a set of guardrails, I don't see it happening that often. You can just make it conditioned upon SIB approval. You've got the sheriff that has already submitted 10. I don't think the sheriff would have submitted 10 unless he thought they were at risk, so you can go ahead and run with those since they're already in the system. I just don't recommend going backwards, going forwards, going backwards, and all that. So if you just, it's not going to be a bunch of rabies shots, so just make it SIB approval required, and they make their case, and you say yes or no.
I like that. Would you be, does that sound good?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 10 today,
Yes.
and then we set up a policy going forward on what, a guideline or policy to provide the additional shots in the future with the SIB approval, just like he said.
Excellent.
who's gonna write the policy?
What would be
Can legal draft us up a policy?
The only problem I have, if I may, the only problem I have with that is departmental control or elected official control. They don't have to take my policies. So if it's going to be SIB sign off at the end of the day. I don't think you need a policy, they just have to make the case to you.
Okay, so we're gonna ask them to come to this board annually with how many? How long
Or
is
as
it?
needed.
How long is a shot to it? Is this like a tetanus shot for 10 years, or
I think it's 20
two?
for 3.
Oh, that's, yeah.
I'll second Mary's
Okay.
motion. I think it's a good one. I want to make a statement and ask a question too. How much, I've forgotten what the cost of the shot is.
Like 460, I think. It was 400 something for a shot.
Okay. I think we ought to wait for the sheriff to give us a list. That sounds like a lot of money. But like Mary said, there are a lot of people in the sheriff's office that may come in contact, be called on the scene and come in contact with a vicious animal that could be a real problem for them. And we will have much more money in that involved with that employee if they're bitten. So I second her motion. I think it's a very good one.
Excellent. Can you restate? So we're gonna have the sheriff?
My motion is to approve the 10 people today,
Yes.
and then moving forward, because when you want SIB approval, if I've gotten bitten by a rabid animal, I'm not gonna wait for you to meet, to give me approval. I'm gonna have to have an injection.
No, that's a different treatment.
This is like
This
a
is
tetanus.
Preventative, okay.
Preventative, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I agree with the 10, and then anything moving forward after that would have to be through the SID.
Excellent.
That's what.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Any opposed? Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
But we
you're
did
fine.
we got it settled.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And then I've got some behavioral health numbers year over year that I can share with you guys. So we started the program in 2022, and I'll pass this out, but it has grown like any other behavioral, oh, thank you. Well, any other behavioral health service has. But in 2022, end of year, we completed 336 behavioral health visits, and then as of, this is not counting November's numbers, but from January to October of 25, we've completed 643. So just showing you guys those numbers monthly and then year over year.
Can I ask if the numbers are showing, was it trending up? Are you seeing any areas that are more of a cause for this, or like?
Not necessarily a cause, but in our month-end reports, basically anxiety and depression are going to be your top visits.
Is it just the fact that they're becoming more aware of the clinic, or what? Because it has doubled.
I think probably many factors, but I think, behavioral health services in general, across the board. I mean, anywhere right now, it takes 6 months to get an appointment. Also, communications, letting the employees, and spouses, dependents know of our service, that we are available. I think that's also a huge thing.
So that includes family
It does.
members as well, okay.
Yeah, not just employees. And then the contract, I just want to first kind of touch base. I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not a budget approval. So we review the budget every year. The contract is just your contracted services with one-to-one health. The budget is something that is done every year. We review what we need to increase on, what we can decrease on to save money. So when you're reviewing the contract, that is just for one-to-one services. We've been with the county now for 8 years. continue to have wonderful patient satisfaction results, continue to enhance services. So, we did review the contract, and it is now, it will not review, or it will not renew every 3 years. So it would be signed, and then, so it would start January 1st, 26, and expire on December the 31st, and then renew additional 1-year terms unless terminated by the county or by one-to-one. Typically with a 3-year extension or anything like that, it's, you know, we have vendors that we have to contract with as well. So it's just, we will have a contract with those vendors. Comcast, for example, you sign a 2-year contract, we can get a cheaper rate with Comcast.
What is, did the school, extend theirs to 3 years?
Yes.
I know last time that we spoke on the 3 years versus the 1 year. Does anyone have any input today?
No, I think we had asked, we discussed.
To move to 1 year?
1 year, I think we went over that pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. We could go ahead and, I don't want to interrupt your presentation, I've already interrupted it, but, we can take a vote on the contract at the end, or how much more do you have to give us?
That's it,
Okay.
unless these ladies have something.
No,
Wait,
I think
no,
this
Cheryl,
is,
No, it's, she's
Okay.
on the sugar right now.
no,
Okay.
all right. So with one-to-one renewal contract, now with the option of extending it for 1 year, can I get a motion
So
to
moved.
accept? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We now have our contract approval for one-to-one. Thank you so much for coming back so quickly, but Merry Christmas, and we won't see you until the new year.
Okay, so you're ready to go now?
No, you can stay all you want to.
Are y'all done with one-to-one though?
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna do that while she's doing it? She can walk over.
I think the mayor holds things and looks at things a little bit. Yeah, he just needs us to vote to move it forward. Correct? She was just saying if it was timely, that you needed to sign it right now or later, and I was saying you could sign it later. You just needed our vote for that. Very good. Excellent. Item B, ESP.
Since we just met, I don't have the numbers yet. They usually come in around the 8th or the 9th of the month for the previous month. So, yeah, it's dependent upon finance. They have to close the month out before we can do another report, so I don't have a monthly report for you today.
Thank you.
But it will go out via email
Yeah.
a couple days after Amy sends me over a report, so.
Excellent. All right, old business. We'll move to insurance policies. Item A1, broker of record, RFQ.
So she printed out a much nicer copy than what I had. So mine has comments on it, and there's the only comments, I sent this over last week, I know it's holiday week, to finance. So there are just a few things that we would need to I won't give you this one, to finalize it, such as do we need the RFPs or the RFQs delivered to a specific room number? I know sometimes that needs to be included. So those types of things, this is still a draft for that. The other thing is on, probably your page 3, it says instructions and then general county underwriting information. That would just need to be updated. That's why it's the yellow highlight. Those are all things that we would need to make sure that those are good to go. These are all pretty straightforward, but these were pieces of information that we had left. Not sure that we have to include all of it, but we wanted to leave it instead. Also, we wanted to verify on the scope of the RFQ, it says the county director of risk management, but I think maybe we want to put Kim's official title, if that's who you all want the broker to work with. That's typically who does. So we want to put her title there. We just wanted to make sure we put the correct title. So again, it's highlighted. We do that so that we can then just go through and get just those little bits and pieces updated. Then lastly, the way that we, not really lastly, the last, I guess, more straightforward piece, and this would be for finance and purchasing, at the very back, there are typically documents that counties or cities have to include with an RFQ. So things like if you have to have them do Title VI assurance, or if you need them to do the Certificate of Non-Discrimination, drug-free policies, the Iran Divestment Act, those types of things. So we want to put your documents, but we left the ones that we had used previously for another client in there just as a placeholder. So they'll be replaced with your documents, but those are typically pretty easy for purchasing to grab. And we can get those in there, and it'll be ready to be released on Thursday. And add on Tuesday.
Yeah,
That's a lot
yeah.
for us to get done before 10 o'clock.
And I did go by purchasing and speak to them. Yeah, it's a lot to get through. So one of the things when we looked at the time schedule was we didn't take into consideration the Thursday, Friday, Thanksgiving days. So ESP got this over here to the county, but then we ran into Thanksgiving holidays. So we need to look at changing our timeline a little bit to give our office more time to work on getting this RFQ done. If that makes sense. So we have some.
The Iran Divestment Act, it's a document that counties you have to sign off on it.
It's a federal requirement to say.
We're having to deal with Iraq.
Yes.
No. But yes, there are, even on health insurance, you pay a New York fee. There's things all over
It
the
runs
place.
into grants and stuff
Yeah.
too, so.
Yeah. How much?
Unless you know something we don't.
So we can find an extra week, and last time when we spoke, we looked at leaving the RFQ over 5 weeks to get as much time out there for any broker that wanted to come in and take a look at our RFQ. So we could take a week out of that. Our minimum requirement for the county is a 2-week window. So we made it 5. So we could take one of those weeks out and move it down to 4 and give our purchasing folks more time to go through this. That's still tight, but what do you think? And with that, they would take, instead of this going out this week, so what we had anticipated is that we would take a look at it today, and we would be able to get it in the paper and start that window opening this Thursday. But by not getting it out, by adding this, moving this 1 week into this, it would go out for RFQ on the 11th, and then we'll have 4 weeks open.
We would have until next Tuesday.
Is that a nice?
From the broker's side, the turnaround for them on this is much easier than a bid. Because number one, they don't need any loss information, they don't need any of that. Everything requested in here should be in their computer, in their office. They should be able to turn this around very quickly. So don't worry about them being able to respond. If they want your business, they will follow the process, whatever you put out there. But on the bid itself, when we actually go out and ask insurance companies, we got a lot of information that's got to be gathered, loss information, a lot of things that these insurance companies will want to know. That process is it takes longer. And the insurance companies want a longer time to run their reports and their research and everything else before they commit to you that if you have $1 billion claim, they're going to pay it. So there's a lot of pushback on their part. But for this process, we're just asking these people, who are you? Who do you have markets with? And what is your fee? And who is involved? And just the specifics of who you would have to deal with after you make the decision what insurance you're going to buy. you still have to deal with these people the whole time, and they're responsible for making things happen. So, just wanted you to know that any scheduling issues on this can be shortened and not affect their ability to turn it in. Okay?
And for the trust, we put in here, I've got to find it, we had allowed for about a week to see if we wanted to do interviews, if you wanted them to come in. So, that's after this comes back to you all. So just look at that and see it.
What kind of time frame would we be looking at interviewing
I think
within?
I'm not sure. I've got to find it, that's probably there's a lot of it. And I think it's on the back of the first page, so all vendors will be available. And again, this is draft, so that's why none of this is final, and it doesn't need to go beyond the table. So yeah, we have just given these dates, so that we would have plenty of time. I'm sure after you get your information and you look at the analysis, you talk to the folks, you'll know. I would think at that point, you should have a pretty good idea who you would like to proceed with. So if those days work, that's fine. Again, draft. We just need something on paper so that then you all can move that around to what needs the county. So this is about you all.
So with giving finance another week, we would look at changing these dates 1 week. So like on page 2, where the RFQ will be released on December 4th, we're talking about the 11th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just looking at finance. Are we good with it? We'll move that to the 11th. And does that also move the last day of questions for the RFQ?
I wouldn't think so. If finance and purchasing, if you all are okay with it, with that staying, that puts the pressure on the vendors, not you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that works.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to aim for.
Okay, that's good to know. And we can change it. We can say the 20th. It needs to be the 20th to be available. And if they make finalists and you want to bring them in, then that'd be the day. And even if things get haywire with weather, if that becomes, because January is always an iffy month, if we need to do a Zoom or a Teams or however your IT prefers to securely set up, you can do your interviews that way too. We don't have to delay that part just because it's some snow or something, in case that happens. Right.
The
Yes.
19th is a
In the
holiday.
holiday.
That's more pressure. If y'all want to cancel that holiday, I'm okay with it.
Luther King.
I'm sure there won't be any blowback there.
No, I'd like to cancel all holidays. I'm all for work. We could come here and celebrate. Wasn't talking about not celebrating.
Yeah, we could celebrate. Should we make it Monday, the following Monday as the final day instead of, because you're missing a Monday? So do the 26th.
Well, we're getting into what Mr. Shoup was saying is we need to give the insurance company as much time as possible. And we want to, I think, Ms. White had said, like, we want to get this rolling as quickly as possible. So every week that we push, we're pushing into the more data-intensive crunching.
So you're looking at 4 days of interviews this year.
I don't think we'll have 4 days of interviews.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying there's 4 days.
That we can get.
Available. Okay.
No, I was just saying, we can extend, if you want to still meet on the 20th, we could make that a longer time period and everyone go into it knowing we'd be here longer, and that would be the focus, would be interviews. Since you'll already be here, we can use just that date, and we can update that statement to say you must be available for interviews on the 20th instead of open-ended. That's totally fine. This is draft. I am fine for you all to move this how you need it to go. As long as legal's good with it and finance, I'm fine.
So, Mayor, gentleman would like to. Ms. White, I'd like to ask you on, and my pages are not numbered, but under the request for qualifications, it appears to be page 4. So, I'd like to get your input from risk management. Under, scope of RFQ 1A, the last sentence, and you'll see that it's in yellow highlight there, is that the competitive quotes will be presented no later than April 2026. Now, up until this point, and maybe y'all can help me put this together in my brain, they're already working with risk management because we put Ms. White's name in back, just above it. We're going to put your name in up where it's highlighted, right? And then you'll be working with them, and it'll all be wrapped up and ready for us to review on April 2026. I want to get feedback from you. I want to know if that is possible. And
Yes, whatever y'all need to do, is fine with me.
because that is where this board became aware of the thing when it was July and we were looking at the things.
We will already have to get started on our applications around March.
So that's all happening.
Yeah, you can start, I think you can go ahead and reach out to your
I just
department.
want to make sure we're all clear.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll be receiving the applications for insurance policies around March to start pulling and submitting data. And then it usually, I think they usually turn in the applications about 60 days before, because we can't get a quote. Is that right? 60 days before?
Yeah, and so we
No
have
earlier than 60 days before.
we have said April here. If we want to make it May, if that's going to be an issue, that is okay. The good thing about an RFQ is that it is not cut and dry where if you can't meet this, well, you're not going to bid. This is very open to everyone, and they can come back and say, we think you've asked for April, but we think May would be a much more suitable time, and that would be fine as well. I don't want to stick it into what we've had this June and July.
Yeah.
So I think May would be great, if that's what we have to do, and maybe this year being the first year, it might need to be a little later just because it's the first year. You know, things are a little wonky when you first make a transition, but we're wanting to set the expectation moving forward that you're not in that July vote again.
Yeah.
That's the expectation from the gate.
Which is what we're teed up for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, July, or no, not
The
July.
alternative to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, earlier.
Mr. Shute.
Just for clarity, we can begin immediately. We know what any company you select, we know any broker you select, we know what they're going to ask for. That data can start being filed now. The situation with renewal is that company don't need a lot other than just updates of what your coverage is. But because they know what your losses are, they know all that.
We've got all the history.
Background stuff.
It's really two independent things going on here.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
they are totally separate, so, we can make sure and help assist with whatever that information. The thing that usually takes the most pushback from the current carrier is getting your loss runs, because we need those as up to date as possible. If we send 6-month-old loss runs to a new company, they're gonna immediately come back and say, no, we need current loss runs. Because we need to see that $2 million claim you're not telling us about. So we just need to push for that, but that process can just start now. Because that's why you're hiring a broker instead of a bunch of brokers, is because that's what they're gonna get paid for. There's a sheet in here about total broker fee. We wanna know what they're gonna get paid and what they're gonna do to earn that money, okay? And we hold the feet to the fire. So that's the one thing. And the other thought will come back to me. But I just want to make sure, as the attorney just pointed out very correctly, this is two separate processes, totally, okay? Oh, I remember what it was. In reviewing and thinking back over our last meeting, I'm not sure that the term broker of record was really define, just so everybody understands what that is and how it works on the insurance side. If you sign a broker of record letter to a broker, but then wind up giving the business to another broker, guess who gets paid? That broker you gave it to gets zero. You have the other agents or brokers going to show up and say, I'm sorry, you signed this. So they don't do any work and they get all the commission. That's what a broker of record letter is. It specifically says, this is who gets paid. So that's why this process is important. We're going to do away with that blurry first thing of letting every broker send you a quote that wants to. And this also stops a broker who has relationships with a particular company who may write a lot of municipal business from tying up the market before you ever release anything, especially the current agent or broker, because they have all the information. So right now, today, if they find out you're doing this just the normal way, they could go to that company and say, hey, we're good friends. We send you a lot of business. Here's the information. And they go do that. And then they go to every other market they write through and do the same thing because they have all the keys. It's all in their computer. That's their advantage. This process stops that because you want to identify that who you're with now is who you want to remain with. And there's language in here that says this process does not give any agent or broker the authority to approach any insurance company about this bid prior to the award of this document. So if I'm an agent out here in Gallatin and I find out that this process is going on and somehow that market I wanted to talk to got tied up, they can take this to another level. So this eliminates that, and that's why people like other municipals in Tennessee and around the country use this process. And let's first determine what broker we're going to deal with, and even if we need insurance for certain things, and we also want to know, okay, here's your broker fee. Are you getting a cut of an insurance commission as well, or outside fees, or are you being paid by another vendor? We want to know all of that because the third party is our problem with healthcare, property and casualty, or comp. We don't know who's getting paid all this money you're paying. Yeah. This process is that's why we're here, because you write us one check a month. That's all we get. We don't get commission, fees, kickback, front row seat to the Lakers games, nothing. Because this is big money.
So, if I could just tail in on this, and maybe from the law office they might can help me. There was in our state law that all services like this was bid out, but last year our state legislators changed the law, and I would say, can you speak to that? How they changed and they made the brokers professional service contracts.
Oh, yeah, they specifically, and this is
They specifically changed
great
this.
lobbying's what this was.
Lobbying.
But, yeah, so they put it in a category to where you could go out and bypass the whole RFQ process. Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, so it's allowed now because it's roped in like attorneys and architects and things like that. It's a professional nature.
So for years and years, it was supposed to be bid out. And then a red flag was raised that it was not being bid out, and suddenly the law changed. So just for a little more background. Thank you for that explanation. We've talked about just kind of sliding the dates, specifically pieces. Finance is comfortable with getting this out the door and in the paper, just to re-verify, for the 11th. Kim, you're comfortable with all these dates, and they're working with the risk management. And then as far as this RFQ, finance and risk will be working to update these. Legal can work with the forms, the Iranian, we won't work with the Iranian stuff, I'm certain. They'll take care of that.
We have those forms.
Yeah, they're-
already.
We're all good. Are there any other questions on this RFQ?
Is there anything that needs to be voted on,
Yes. Well, you know what?
other than the timeline adjustment?
To go forward, I think. The timeline adjustment and go forward. Because last time we voted, the vote last time was to bring us back a draft. So we need to vote to accept the draft with the discussed date changes.
Giving us authority to make the necessary changes and then move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, I'll make that motion to accept this document with the changes that we've discussed
Second.
and for, staff to make the changes. Got a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I believe that A, to manage the due dates, we've covered that in this discussion. For now, this meeting falls rather quickly following the other meetings, so I would like to move that we do not cover old business for the flu shot, for B, for flu shot comparison, because it's due in February. The county risk, some type of where we're going to go with finding more risks that are out there that we are unaware of, that'll be in January. And item D is the employee all email group. Mr. Tudlin, IT, said he would have that for us in March. So we'll wait on those items. And the next item, any new business anyone would like to discuss.
Can I go back to that?
Yes,
Can you give me specifics, what you're looking for in that, which direction do I need to go in? Because I can go into a million different directions.
Whichever one you think would be the highest risk for us, I would say. Like,
I mean, are you?
risk management is a humongous area.
Yeah.
And we just, as Commissioner Hyde said, we have no idea what our risks are as a board.
Are you talking about from the liability side, from the work comp side, from both sides? I just wanted to.
This, if I may, she brings up a great point. We were discussing this previously, she and I were. This is almost a issue where the departments are going to have to give us some sort of risk assessment because we really don't know what all they do and what's a risk assessment to them. So this becomes a domino effect.
Yes.
And anything we give you could easily be chewed up by other departments as not being relevant or not addressing all the issues. So some time needs to be spent on where you want this to start. Because at the end of the day, I really see it being departmentally governed as to what their biggest issues are, or elected officials.
I totally agree with you.
But we don't want to waste our time roughing out product for you when it's not going to take us anywhere.
Why don't we just then say for the departments to develop their own and then, I guess, combine it under risk management.
So-
And then by February, we get the answer.
So, if I can add to that, I think that our role in risk management is to serve the different departments and areas. And risk management is not their task, it's risk management's task. And perhaps creating, and this is a very good conversation to have, is where to start. And it may be as simply as to start by lining up a questionnaire for the different departments. I'm sure that's a thing for risk management, right? To send out emails to the departments asking them to identify their risk, because obviously I assume that you wouldn't know what the risk management is, or what kind of risk they have in archives.
Right.
You have no, so it would be just a generic email of some type, the very beginning of identifying risks from different areas. And I don't think anybody expects the law office or risk management to know what everybody's risks are, but to start gathering that in some way. Are there forms?
That's exactly where I'm headed. I'll see what I can generate as far as sparking some sort of conversation between the departments and us. I just have no idea. I'll
Yeah.
have to look into that.
But if we don't start somewhere, we're still never gonna get anywhere. I think that's where this request is coming from, is how to get started. And I think that your point is a good point, that you're gonna need to reach out and start identifying what the department is. And there must be in risk management some type of survey that you send out to these people, or,
I mean, we've never done anything like that before. I'm not gonna say we can't, I'm just.
Yeah, this is all new ground, so I'm gonna have to look
Yeah.
into how to make this as functional as possible.
yeah, and I'll just say that I just put it in an AI the other day, and it gave me several fabulous sounding steps.
Yeah, I found that.
But I don't know how to implement it.
Steps, because we're all over the place as far as, highway versus sheriff versus
Yeah.
animal control versus EMS. I mean, it's just all different types of work that
Yeah.
we do.
Mr. Shoup, did you want to add?
Well, I was just going to, again, say that one of the resources you have with our company is that we deal with a lot of others just like you. And we know some of these places have already gone through these steps.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you need to copy what they do, but it could be, if you would like, we could direct you to maybe people you could talk to directly, not have to figure out who that is, who have these programs, who went through these steps, and save you some heartaches. Because they're doing the same thing. They got highway departments, sheriff's departments, the whole thing, so they've somehow done that.
I would gladly take any information you want to provide me, because I will steal from the best of them.
So,
Absolutely.
Rutherford
Don't
County,
need to reinvent the wheel.
Rutherford County has a pretty developed risk management area with several pieces of staffing. Even though they are a bit larger than we are, they have intricate pieces of staffing already in place. So if you could contact them. Do y'all have, I know, county commissioners, we have an annual, 2 a year, that we can meet other county commissioners. And I know the clerk's office does, and the deeds and the trustees. Does risk management, do county risk managers get together? Do y'all have meetings, conferences?
Yeah, there's a conference, yes.
Maybe you have contacts, or,
Yeah.
they do this?
I've asked some of them, but their counties don't do anything like this, but I guess I didn't ask the right one.
Rutherford, I've seen theirs. I just like to look at their videos. They got a good video system.
We've had a close relationship with them for 20 years. And them and City of Clarksville, Montgomery County, I mean, these are places we've already been through these steps. All those people have OJI programs fully developed. In fact, we're right in the middle of doing a huge comparison between 4 of them on how they've updated their OJI documents and even folded them into their employee handbook guidance and everything else. So that's what we do, and sometimes that gets lost in us just showing up for a meeting. But I think we need to let you know, that's what we do for other people. It's not something new we got to invent. We just do it every day. And therefore, we know who the vendors are, the people who pay claims, the people who do a good job, a bad job, who charge a lot, who do nothing. Agents, which are basically worthless. That's why they hate us, because it's just another expense for you. And if you don't need that.
So if legal can reach out to you for more leads, but we and I'll speak for the committee, I feel like from our past comments, we just need to start somewhere building towards identifying risk. And this all came from, you were not at our last meeting, is that we were unaware that we were not providing rabies vaccines. And we said, what else is there out there? What other risk could we shore up that we don't even know about, and how will we ever know about it? So that's where this all kind of accumulated back to this. We need a risk management plan and move it forward. If I covered that.
I think that's a great idea, because you're spinning your wheels, and there's no need for that. Use your people, get the information, develop your plan, and go forward.
And I could add that in all these cases we've been involved in, the key element to every one of them is reported, regular reporting, by all departments. There has to be a way to do that. I understand county government is kingdoms. I know, I've been doing this for 35 years. I know how the politics work. But there has to be some point to where you realize, or people realize, we're all spending county tax dollars. Yes, I have my department, but if we are not doing loss risk assessments, we're not looking at reports on a regular basis of lost time, where these things happen, who backed into who, why did that bus accident happen? I know we're not doing schools right now, but that's the point. And those things exist. We've got one risk manager we work with in a small county who has been in risk management most of his life, and he developed an online system for their county. And they have a monthly meeting. It alternates between schools and county departments. And they get a report, no names, none of that, just here's what happened, you know, it's a car accident or whatever it is, or an OJI claim. What happened? It was their lost time. What's the legal expense of that? What's the medical expense of that? And so forth. And then what they do with that information is they say, oh, we had 16 trips and falls. What is that? Let's go to the departments and say, here's some resources. Why don't y'all look at these and see if you can show these to your employees, and let's cut down on that slip, trips, and falls by proactively taking care of stuff. So you got to break through some barriers.
Can you
You've
provide
got to
us
have
that?
reports.
Can you provide us that small county's report as an example? Can you provide us, without their county name or anything? I think that would be.
I need to. Yeah, I need
We'll
to
try.
Okay, just work with legal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, since this has been brought up, if I may, this has been a sore spot with me, is these other departments, we get these accidents, we report this stuff, but there's no remedial training. There's no, seems to be no stopgap on it. It's just turn in the claim, we pay it, and that's the end of it. Now, I say that to get to this. Budget's gonna be coming up soon. We have one person that does risk management for this whole county. We're talking about softwares, we're talking about getting reports together, we're talking about generating policies.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got, 5 people, I already have probation, so I just need y'all to understand that this is quickly gonna become a man-hour problem. I really think that the heart's in the right place, but
I am aware of that.
it's gonna be a problem.
Like I said, I've noticed Rutherford County has at least 3 dedicated people in their risk management, have a department. And it's a serious thing. Risk management is serious. It will cost us. When we get caught up in the end, we will be sad that we haven't taken these steps. There's just the title, is it 6? The lack of Title 6 that we were not following, which is a huge risk management problem that came up. Am I getting that right? The one that Scott is doing
That was
now?
a grant problem, yes,
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to go live in the
I'm
past
just
here,
saying
but to move forward,
that is
man
another
hours.
risk area that we were not aware of as a county. Nobody was watching it, and the potential for lawsuits were.
We were told it was happening.
Yeah, the potential, the risk involved with that, or in the multi-millions. It's just that one little piece. So I see that, and I have talked to the budget people, and again, you might have departments, but I got commissioners that don't hear it either.
I'm just letting you know when there's that ask out
I
there.
know, I would support it.
I agree with him that there needs to be more workforce behind it, because you have risk management and you have all this, and what I heard him say, there's no remediation, what happened, what were you doing, and no education. So if you're gonna have that constant problem, and it's never gonna get better, because you're gonna, it's gonna get out of hand. And I think it needs to be pulled back and look at that and say, hey, commissioners, XYZ, we're a big county, we have a huge population, and we have a huge workforce.
Commissioner Hunt?
touched on something. I was sitting here thinking about the key to all of this that we're talking about, I think, is what authority do we have, or what authority can we gain by policy or anything else to impose the fact that remediation happens, that these things we're talking about do happen. You have a department or a department head that says, no, forget that. That's a waste of our employees' time. We're going to go ahead and do this. How, Bob, can we get a handle on that?
Well, it's tricky, but I'll give you an example of one county. I'll leave nameless. They asked me that same question. They were having some issues in their sheriff's department with wrecks. And they just go out and buy a new police car. At the time, about $25,000 a car. And the board, the committee, wanted to know, the insurance people, committee of the county, wanted to know what can we do about it, because they couldn't work it out themselves. And I said, well, who's paying for that new police car? Well, the sheriff is, through his budget or how that works. And I said, how much is it costing the sheriff? Nothing. Okay. Why don't you raise your deductible on your to the department of that vehicle? Raise it to $1,000. On the car, and he had to come up with $1,000 that wasn't in his budget. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what you do, but I'm just giving you an example that, to me, and I've studied county government for a long time, the only tool that the county has is money to departments. You can't tell them how to run their department. They're an elected official, and I respect that. And they do great jobs at that, what their departments are for. But internally, you have to have a lever, and the lever in county government is funding. So, and but all you all have to do is point to your benefit program for how this can work. I know it was a brief statement last meeting, but you've got $18 million in your reserve for just that. I believe, is that correct? And that's uncommitted money. And the biggest thing with self-funding to county government and their auditors is called an unfunded liability. And you may have some holes in that. I mean, you've got things you create by risk that could cost the county money, and you don't have a reserve for it, you don't have a fund for it. That's an unfunded liability, and you can be written up for that. So, your county employee benefit plan took years to get you where you are with that. But I would challenge you to check with most other counties in the state of Tennessee and see what their reserves are for their medical, if they even have one, because they're still fully insured or just paying whatever the insurance company does. And check with them what their benefits are that are not running programs like yours. And most everyone we work for has a program, health program like you all have in place. And that's what it does. So, yes, you're exactly right. It may take other manpower, but it may be that some of the people you're using now as third party are not really giving you everything they could with the service and reports and everything else. So maybe that could take up some of the slack, but yes, it probably will take more manpower, county people, to make sure these programs work. And it's not fair that it falls on one office, one person, but that needs to be studied.
Bob, as a follow-up to that, and also to our attorney, could we we develop some kind of policy in order to give us that, Roosevelt big stick? Could we develop a policy and enforce it by saying that, we offer, services to help and assist in, safety and all of these things, preventive types of things, that we offer that and expect everyone covered by our insurance to follow that, and if they don't, that we may not, decide not to cover. What if it's something, a blatant kind of, thing where they had just refused to remediate?
I think anything's possible, but I'll go back to what Tim said, that's gonna take some study, and every county, I can tell you, the ones we work with, every one of them is different. Different personalities. I'm sorry. I just
Join your
turned
name.
76.
Subtitles, I'm here for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But, yeah, but you need to sit down and ask that question in a meeting where the only reason you're having that meeting is to discuss that issue, because it's that critical. And you need, I'd say us, or someone like us, that don't have a dog in the hunt, that is very familiar with the background and the layout of how all this stuff comes together and works. And you need legal in there to say, well, that's a good idea, but you can't do that. So you need, in finance, of course, because that's the core.
Let me ask a question. If you go into the budgetary process, and you have all of the liabilities, recs, and all, whatever that was done by the department, then you have the amount of remediation that they did on the other side. You ask them what they have done to try and bring those costs down. Would that be, that would, to me, would be an effective tool at least, and showing the fact that they are using a lot of resources, spending a lot of money on, say, for instance, wrecked cars, but they have no remediation over here. What kind of penalty can you put on them?
That's the biggest problem. At the end of the day, regardless of the outcome,
the budget
they
is
get their
okay.
vehicle.
Yeah, I know, but the budget is the only thing that we as the funding mechanism have.
But I guess it bypasses it when it becomes a wreck, because it goes into an insured event, because we're self-insured, therefore that's where the money comes from, and it doesn't become a budgetary issue for them specifically. So how do you get that in as a budgetary issue and not hinder the performance of the department? I don't know.
I think that what we should do is concentrate on gathering up what our situation is, and then focus on the answers to that. Back to what Mr. Shoup said, with each county having unique issues and needs, that if once we gather up our needs and what's actually happening, then we can figure out how to address them. But yes, it always should come back to budgetary. And I like that they were taking some out of the insurance fund and then forcing the departments that were utilizing it to.
That's what I find curious, if I may.
Interesting.
So the deductible they created for the sheriff's department, they were self-insured,
Yes, but.
so they were able to spread out the deductible.
Not just the sheriff's department.
So they spread it out on everybody.
If you wreck a vehicle countywide, your department's gonna assist with payment of replacing that thing.
And if I can open up more discussion on the automobiles and what other people are doing, it's just that we haven't had any foundation. A lot of the other counties and our vehicles, some of them, and I would like to ask, and I'd like to make a motion that the next time we come back, you have a list from us for risk management. Which of our vehicles have the software on it that is tracking them and stuff? Because I've been to the City of Gallatin meetings, and they have cameras and stuff on their vehicles, and it tells them when their employees are driving too fast. It tells them when they're in an accident, whose fault it was, because the camera's on. It comes on somehow, I don't know how that works. But they have decided, from their risk point of view, to invest in that. Now, I know that some of our vehicles have that. I don't know how it's tracked and who it's tracked, but this insurance board, as far as looking at risk, should be concerned and start looking in that direction. And so I make a motion that, Ms. Schlack brings us back a list of which vehicles currently have the software on them and the tracking of it tracks location, and it automatically comes on. My understanding, some of the systems automatically come on during an accident. Do we have these?
Yes, some of our vehicles.
They're pretty good about reporting the accidents. The problem, it goes beyond that.
Yes. So until we actually, as a board, look at the risk and we look at what's coming in and the problem goes beyond that, we can't address how to fix it. So I would just like to make a motion that we get a list of which vehicles and what type of tracking they have. If I could get a second.
Terry, I could second that, but I think it goes beyond just getting a list.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do something. It's action, and I know often it's said that committees just kill things, but I'd like to get a small subcommittee of this committee to look and work with the department and just look at every avenue we could use to deter any kind of thing like we're talking about, and what authority we can have to impose remediation and things of that sort. Just look at how we can make it more effective, risk management more effective.
So you would like to second my motion and amend it to make a subcommittee to focus.
Maybe you would agree to do that with your motion.
Is that agreement for me to agree to be on this committee? I'm not quite sure that's how that's.
No, he needs you to make your motion to second it.
Yes, I would be, yes, I would accept your amendment to my motion.
And both of those are okay, but I'll second that.
Before we vote on it, we are gonna need to, there's 4 of us here. Mr. Hyde is asking for us to have another meeting, and it will take at least 2 of the 3 of us to make another committee on. So, we'll have to do that after we, so.
Who's retired on this committee? I'm just saying, I honestly cannot be on a committee where I have to come in during the day. I'm struggling now with my full-time job. So I'm being very honest with you. I don't mind coming in and doing these meetings, but if I need to be on the committee, fine, but I'm just saying I have a lot of commitments with my work right now, especially with the time of year and all the issues that come with that, with my type of work. So I'm just giving you my parameters.
Then I will, at the next meeting, I'll come back with some ideas on how we can put that committee together, who could be on it. So okay, all in favor of us, we'd like to have a list, any reporting that you can bring us from that list. If we have, I don't know, I know this is not happening. If the archives has the car over there and they have it on a tracking system, who's tracking it and what reports do we have? That would be what it would look like. And you'll come back with that, and we will be putting together a focus group to have an in-depth discussion on how to get more out of finding risk issues. Is that?
Yeah, and I say that, Madam Chairman, because we can hire I'm against just hiring employees to do more work. Mm-hmm. If we hire employees and we don't know what we can get done by hiring more employees legally, we've just spent more county money.
And to that point, and we still have a motion to vote on, but to that point, I think in Rutherford County where they have 3 employees, they actually have people there that are, in fact, probably their broker of record. No, they hired a broker of record, didn't they? So we would need to know what tasks they are doing. Yeah, I was thinking but no, they probably inside their risk management department take care of what ESP is bringing to the table, but it's probably costing us less with their monthly fee than it would be to have an employee on. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any other business anyone would like to discuss?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to leave y'all with an image. What you're trying to accomplish, think of it as a puzzle, a 5,000-piece puzzle in a box. I think you've been trying to complete that puzzle starting in the middle of the picture. I think you should start with, like most people who put a puzzle together, what do you do first? You do the frame, okay? Well, that frame is all this information that you need to figure out where the issues are. Where does that piece go? And because it won't work here. So that should be any group's first step. Where is our reporting? Who's it coming from? How reliable is it? How up to date is it? How often is it? And you all would need, just for a thought, how these other counties got to the department heads was they had the department heads, they helped them get to a point where they felt like it was their obligation to do this. Why? Because it's county money. It's taxpayers that's paying that. And I need a new fire truck, or I'm going to need a new police car. And you know what? Our employees need a raise. All that money comes from the same pot. So if we're ineffectively using those dollars because we're not managing this situation, and I'm sorry, employees, we can't give you a raise this year, or whatever. It's the same money. Or they go to taxpayers and say, property taxes going up. I don't know how that works.
I'll make a motion that we implement what we just did upon getting the information from all these departments once they pose the questionnaire, and we know what we're working with first of all.
Okay.
We need to know that information first before we can.
I'm not willing to, we all voted for it,
Well, I know that.
but I'm not willing to bring it back to talk about it. Are you
No,
saying
I'm
wait on
saying
the tracking or?
No, I'm just saying, no, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just like Bob said, we need to know what our parameters are before we can attack the problem. And until Eric gets all this information back from the departments, once they created the questionnaire that Bob can hook them up with the person, we need to know what those parameters are first, and then we'll attack the problem.
I'll second Bob's motion that we direct the committee to get parameters before they start their work.
I see exactly where Commissioner Brown's coming from, but that's how I've been viewing this whole thing. I don't even know what I don't know, I really can't answer any of what's been on the table because I'm very anxious to see what he's got to show me and do some reach out within the other counties so that I know what questions to ask and how big a battle is this I need to get prepared for.
And I think that, to bring this back around, I think that all Mr. Hyde's earlier comment was based on was that a small group, a subcommittee or a focus group could help you.
I don't disagree
I believe
with
that was what the last motion was, is that we could form a small focus group to assist you in moving forward with those goals.
And I don't disagree with any of that, with the understanding that I've got to come with you with just an overview of what I think's going on, and I have no concept
So I
of
think
that
Mr.
yet.
Hyde's motion was helping with providing more thought.
Eventually, yes.
He needs to get us a foundation first, and then we can build on that.
And I'll just say, a lot of these things that Mr. Shoup is saying, I do speak to other counties. I speak to Williamson County's insurance board, and I watch other counties' insurance meetings to find out what they do. So I am watching, and I could lend, I found a few minutes of thoughts of your research. So your motion is to not form a focus group?
Just wait until he gives us the parameters to work with, then we get we could get the
We
committee,
already-
but I just don't see how we're gonna be working with anything
Are
So
you
he needs
saying
to at
you
least
don't
get-
want the vehicle list?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's part of the parameters.
Okay,
No, we get the vehicles, we get, what all the risk is in each one of these departments. We get all that information, then we come together as a committee, once that has
Okay.
been developed.
so we move forward. What do we say, how is it? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand how.
Basically, the scope of the committee will be defined based on the information I bring to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, okay,
I agree with that, because it's just like in
Otherwise, we're spending it.
in practice, we start out with what is the issue, how did we get here, what was the parameter that caused it, what are we gonna do about it? And so it's a four-step process,
okay,
and that's exactly what you're doing. So right now you're at, how did we get here? You still have to come down to these other issues. So I agree with what you're saying, because if you're kind of have this, but you don't have this, so you really just
mhm,
doing it. So I agree with y'all, totally, 100%.
all right. So Bob made a motion that we proceed with all these things that we discussed, and we move forward on it after we find out information.
Get the parameters.
Okay, I would have hoped we were doing that anyway, but we have a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Anything else before we adjourn? Thank you for the meeting, everyone.